Yeah, my name is Merideth Mathurin. Um, I'm an old, sorry, a matured member of the theatre faculty, if you could call it that, in Antigua. I studied drama at St. Joseph's Academy when I attended school there. Um, and then after high school, I joined up with the Harambee group, the Harambee Theatre group here in Antigua. The director at that time was Dorbin Omad. His younger brother, Andy Omad, that was the first play I acted in. It was called Tell It Like It Is. This was in going back, 1971, 72. And then there was, after that I acted in about 3 or 4 different plays. And mainly the major role, except the last play I acted in, which was called The Ruler, in High Ruler. This was also directed by Dorbin Mamad, and it was adapted from a book by Alvin Bully. He's a renowned Caribbean director, actor, activist. And from there, in 1977, I left Antigua and went to Toronto, where I was engaged with I was a member of the Black Theatre Canada Ensemble. We toured the universities, high schools, and had several productions in Toronto. I stayed there with them for about 2.5 years, and as a full-time actor. This was my dream, to pursue acting. But what I realized then, at that time, was that it was very difficult to make a living as a black actor in Toronto. And I was really tired of eating too many sardines, you know what I mean? So I decided to give it up and continue where I left off. The career I left off with the airlines, Air Canada. On returning home in 2016, I retired from Air Canada and started pursuing my dream in the theatre again. During this period, during the period in Toronto, I wrote several plays. The main one was called Marriage Without Consent. In 2018, 2018, I was intrigued by the theatre, not the theatre, but the film faculty. Dr. Howell, Dr. Edwards, and Dr. Edwards is the one who introduced me to film. Wrote a few plays which I hope to get adapted into film. There are 2 of them. One is called Talk to Me, Lord, Talk to Me, Away the Lord, Talk to Me. And the second one was called Emancipation. So I'm really looking forward to my experience in film. Isn't as extensive as my experience in theatre, that is, acting on stage. Yeah, I've been involved in the Motion Picture Association for approximately 2.5 years. Presently, I am the PRO for the Film Association. Yes, I am. Certainly. I can see it taking off in the future. At the moment, you know what's going on with the COVID-19, so it's a difficult time right now, but I'm hopeful that it will take off as soon as things get back to normal. Like theater and calypso drama, calypso, reggae, all the different art forms, theater is part of one of them. And within theater itself, the other art forms can be incorporated. Because when I was with Harambe, initially most of the plays were dialogue, you know, and then Dobby Mamad infused music and dance into theater. And I think that's when theater started to take off in Antigua. We had about 3 or 4 different theater groups at that time. So it was a very vibrant, active group in Antigua at that time. Like most other countries, and I know resources are limited because we are not a first world country and the funds may not be, may be tighter in sense of prioritizing what funds are used for. But culture plays a very important part in our development. And I could see theater as it was done at certain times with Rick James and Edson Bunton. Both guys used to have plays at hotels. So it was part of it was part of exposure of the Antiguan culture through the arts, through theater. And I can see that happening again. Most definitely, most definitely. At the same time, though, you see what we're doing now, our small group, film group here. We can expose the culture of Antigua through things like Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube. We can exploit that avenue. And by exploiting that avenue, the interest would be generated more. And so the government could see where theater can play a crucial role in the cultural development of the island. I'm not saying no, that they shouldn't put more resources into it. I'm saying that we should develop our art form. Even let's for example, the guy Mayfield. Mayfield was the first guy who made a film in Antigua. What he used, a little camera and 2 things, and he got some very good exposure from that. Likewise, if we students, you may have a little, say for example, I might take this little stuff here and make a short movie from my camera and send it on Facebook. And you'll be surprised to know the amount of exposure you could get from that. And the exposure that is generated from this film being, the short film being on YouTube, can pique the interest of so many people that it will have a ripple effect in many other positive ways in the film industry. Now that's a good question. I think I feel very strongly about that. We are the customers of the private industry, supermarkets, lumber yards, whatever. But I don't think they have put in enough funds in that area. You go, for example, we did some fundraising activities, and this was before COVID-19. And it was hell's belt to get a couple dollars from these people. I mean, you go to some of them don't even answer your phone calls, or you send a letter to them, they don't even acknowledge your letter. You know what I mean? And to me, that's very, very, very poor. And I feel that we, I may be going a little further overboard on this, but I have to say, I think that we should support the companies that support us. That is how I feel about it. The main challenge is financial. And I'm not talking about getting the money to do the film. I'm talking about getting the people involved in filmmaking. Everybody out there is not everybody, but there are a lot of people out there hustling. Things tough. And in order to make it, you have to have two, sometimes three jobs to make ends meet. I can tell you that because when I was trying to put on one of the plays that I brought down from Toronto in 2002, it came off quite good. We had about we performed it at the Dean Lake Auditorium, and it was well received. But I understand that if it was a if it was a reggae or soca show, that we could have charged twice or three times the amount and get 10 times the amount of people. What does that tell you? Hmm? You know, as simple as getting back to what I said earlier. It doesn't have to be elaborate, but it should be in the schools. Just like you have theater in the schools, you should have film study in the schools. I know a lot of the universities and even high schools now in Canada, where I lived for a number of years, that is part of the curriculum. Again, we know finances and so on and so forth. But you can start on a small scale and then let the interest grow. And then as the interest grow, instead of you getting $1,500 for, right? You could take that money and two or three you could buy a couple of cameras, put on, you know, send to Amazon or wherever, and get it sent down to you and start your own little thing. But it can grow, and it would grow. But you have to have the vision of where we want it to be in a certain period of time. And take baby steps, that's all. It can play a very big part, but you have to get some good PR people out there to promote it. You know, because it's not we're not there yet, if you know what I'm saying. You know, so you have to go there and get the exposure, get corporations involved, you know, and put it on the local social media, right? And from there, it can go. And that is my point. I think you're making the same point, right? I need a crystal ball for that.